Pardon the delay. Waiting for this to go live, so. Complying with open meeting. All right.
Set.
Well said.
The governance committee meeting will come to order. We do a roll call
Mr. J.C.
here.
Ms. Weber. Wow.
Here.
Mr. Cuddy.
Here.
First item on the agenda is the evaluation, the board evaluation of the basically of the authority. I find it very interesting. I think to me, more thought is going into this document than has ever been, because everybody used to mark the first column and you know, and then it was just kind of a pain, but I think people are giving it some thought.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting that there are 3 items on here, pardon me, that somebody disagrees with. I was surprised at the numbers because doesn't look like to me that we've had the entire board do the evaluation.
We were missing one.
Missing one, okay.
It looks like 2. Should be 7. Total
We might
7.
have one, we might have a vacancy still, correct? I think we still have a vacancy.
We have 2 vacancies.
Yes, but is it
Well,
Brandon?
we have 1 and 1 pending,
Yes, yeah.
but the number should be 7. And that's disheartening that there's somebody that still opts not to fill out and take the time to do this when other members are taking the time to do it. And I think putting some thought into it. Overall, I think I would like to address very quickly the ones that come under somewhat disagree. Individual board members communicate effectively with the executive staff so as to be well informed on the status of all important issues. The person, whoever it is, disagrees with that. I'm not aware of anybody that has a problem with talking to the executive staff.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I put somewhat agree or somewhat disagree. I'm not sure. That could have been me. My thought is more kind of in the sense that this was a unique year, to put it lightly. You know,
Yeah.
the executive director search was, you know, put a lot of what I would say this board took for granted when Tracy and Danielle, you know, like when there were an executive, when there was like a somebody in place. So what happened, what I feel the reason why some of these numbers are, you know, different than previous years, I think we are seeing you know, it's a transitional year. So some of the things that as a board, we, you know, I think relied a lot, and as we should, on the executive director, and it by not having somebody in place the whole time, it kind of showed some of the the weaknesses, and again, like, it's not pointing fingers, it's just. I know when I filled out one of the things, it was like, I pointed to myself, I even wrote like, yeah, my bad, I didn't look at that part of, or I misunderstood that part of the bylaw. And, but anyway, I think it's important to review this, especially because it is a unique year. But I also think that it's important to acknowledge that it was a unique
Oh,
year.
yeah, and I also think it's important that we acknowledge that our discussion is constructive. And, I mean, and you have to be honest in order to improve. So, I don't find fault with what you're saying there. I think you're absolutely right that it has been a unique year.
Yeah, and on that. And just, again, communication about what was happening on the search level, I felt left in the dark. Or I think, board members felt like not knowing what was going on, but I don't think it was purposeful. It was more kind of an observation as to like who knew what was going on. Like I had found out in the paper that an executive director was hired. So, what I'm saying? There's things like that where it's just like, oh, okay, well, but I think, and I'm not talking about Mike, I'm talking about, the previous one. So, but I will say that, I see what's happened over the last 3 weeks. Michael hiring a marketing person. I think things are starting to kind of like fall into place. You're getting your bearings. I mean, that's what I'm, seeing,
And it's those exact comments that really resonated with me from not just this board, but our, CETA's other key stakeholders saying, we're not hearing what we need to from CETA directly. So reading about changes in the paper has, in my opinion, it's unacceptable. So as we're having decisions, if somebody's coming or going, I'm making that decision that we're informing our key stakeholders here first. So if you're not on the list, let me know right away. I'm trying to make sure all the right folks are there. So you're hearing it and seeing that first, instead of the other way around. So that's been my take on that, and I have certainly heard the feedback here. So
yeah, I see improvement already since I filled out this, but I do, Jim, I agree. I do think we need to have this conversation and with the general board as well. But I think they're going to echo the same things that
I think if you the executive board has changed. There's some changes that have taken place there. There was a time when they felt that the shareholders didn't have need for that information. And you and I as shareholders, I think there is an improvement there. But it's been a long time coming.
I also think that even in light of this being a transitional year, but I think there's just signals that we can all pick up on as board members, and Michael can pick up on as our executive director, of just areas of improvement that when I look at this just generic board governance stuff, the things that people are struggling with are common to lots of boards of directors. And I think that if we can just take a look at that, I'm even looking at some of the comments here, that's just good signals. If somebody was feeling that way in the midst of mayhem, that's what it felt like to us. That, I think there's some real opportunity for Michael to see this. Okay, that's the way they were feeling in the moment. I mean, all of us as a board as well. These are some areas of improvement that we need to engage in, because a lot of this is stuff that I hear generally when I'm either working with the board or sitting on a board. But the comments are intriguing to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, Michael, I was curious, or Jim, anybody, when you looked at the general comments, how did you ingest those or how did you take them in?
I mean, for me, I take them personally because as not only your executive director, but that of CETA's, it's concerning that there was that information gap, and I don't think it's the fault of any one person. It was just the result of the turnover that was going there, which not just this board, but other key stakeholders, CETA had voiced a lot of frustration due to that turnover there. So a lot of what I've been trying to pick up are the patterns of concerns going on across those discussions there, and to make sure that we are being respectful of those genuine concerns and responding to them and being more communicative moving forward. So as we're making any changes in one direction or another, whether it's somebody coming or going, or just how are you handling responsibilities, is making sure you're aware of that. So we, as I was looking at this, a lot of it did make sense to me. Are we engaging you from our perspective, since you're technically a client of CETA? Are you getting what you need from us? So that's what I'm that's how I read it.
One of the things that's on there about refers to the succession plan for the chairman. I would point out that the chairman serves at the pleasure of the mayor. The mayor appoints the chairman, and not the board that chooses the chairman. So that kind of makes it difficult. But we do have somebody who takes my place when I'm not here. And that's certainly, we can open that position up to people that, anybody, I don't think Bill Andre really loves it.
It's not an enthusiastic successor.
But that's the way that's handled. So,
I mean, that might be something we could bring up to the general board and see, or ask Bill, like, if he's interested in continuing, or as the, as the code, or as a vice chair, and if he is, and, or if there's other people interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's fair to bring up. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be the general board members to talk specifically, but like you said, Jim, it's like we're a board that's not afraid of constructive criticism, and I think it's good. I mean, we're acknowledging the various changes that have happened over the last year, and think that I think we'll come out better. And I think it's already helping out Michael. It's helping your job a lot, and as I said, I already see positive things happening in the, in general CETA, management. So
Just another thing that's a possibility as I'm looking at the performance goals and the comments. And I think there's also an opportunity, Michael, to maybe look at organizing our agenda in some way around these performance goal areas, so that there's just constant alignment between what we say we want to achieve and you creating ways to make that visible for us, and make sure that we have consistently heightened awareness. So that I know in our general meetings, we have those general areas, but I think there's an opportunity to enhance or to feed information to us in a way that we are constantly being aware that when we're doing this, it's aligned with one of these 3 performance goals. I think that would help people feel less confused about what we're doing or what the business we're in. I can remember that we even talked about these specifically, in recent history, but I think that that's a real opportunity as well, like to use that as the framework for the core parts of our agenda.
Certainly, that's the fire commissioner board I sit on. We have an entire section
Yeah.
that highlights strategic planning.
Mhm.
So even if there's no update,
Right.
it is there as a discussion point
Mhm.
to make sure we're hitting on.
Yeah, I like that idea because I love that it lets me know what it looks like when it's happening. So when you are engaged in activities that I just anecdotally know would fit under number one or number two, or that
Right.
whole conversation we had about the sidewalks or no sidewalks. Really, it forced us to talk about the parcels. I think if we can visibly see
Mhm.
that when we're having this conversation, it really is advancing
Mhm.
our work around these goals. I think that will help us coordinate our thinking about the things that we're doing as well.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, City Councilor. Good.
What happened to the game?
Got postponed till tomorrow. So
Too much snow.
Skipping city council instead of Ada.
Is there too much snow on the?
Yeah, so their field in
Field.
Rochester, stadium's old, it has turf on it, but because the stadium was built so long ago. It wasn't built to accommodate plowing for the
Oh,
snow, so
yeah.
they can't plow the field.
The bylaws. We've reviewed those once already. Does anybody have any changes that they'd like to see? I think we're pretty much.
Yeah, we had discussed them. If not last time, the one before that too, so.
Michael, did you look through these two?
Mhm.
So when you looked through them and it's kind of a signal to you about how the board functions, does this document position us to work in a way that works for you?
I serve at the pleasure of the board, so. Okay. Aye. You really tell me what you would like me to do. I think there's always flexibility in what is, needed
Mhm.
by this body, and so long as it's staying within the realm of scope of services, then, it works for me, it works for Sita.
Okay, so. We're in agreement that we will take this to the board for vote today.
Yeah, sounds good.
Um,
Oh, fine, that's great.
Okay. Time is it?
I don't know.
And if you would like to adjourn, then we will be having the next governance meeting in September.
Have a motion,
I'll motion.
second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Katie's not gonna be able to join. She sent an email.
Yes, I agree with that. Thank you.
They got more snow over there in Rochester. Didn't they, Jimmy?